for the hobbies. Hello, hello. Welcome. Just allowing some space.
Hello.
Everybody to enter the chat. Hello, hello. How we doing today? What's good, homie? You back from the woods?
I am back from the woods. Yes, I will be back in the woods again for the long weekend. 'Tis the season. We spend a lot of time in the woods, but I like it.
Like, are you like camping, or do you have like a cabin situation that you go to?
Yeah. So actually, we have a new adventure mobile that we're using this year. My main man Greg, he picked up an old ambulance at auction, and so we are tooling around. We named her Aunt Fanny. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie Robots with Robin Williams. Anyways, there's like an old kitchen robot who has a huge back end that used to be an oven. And they call her Aunt Fanny. And so we have named our ambulance Aunt Fanny because she has a big old back end. But yeah, it's great. So we're out there pretty much every weekend. We have an air mattress on the floor, like it's all cabinets, and I can boil a kettle. That's what I care about.
That's cool. See, I could handle that kind of camping. Like, I am far too autistic to be out in the elements all of the time. Like, I can't deal with the dampness like that. Like, when the dew sets, like, it's game over. Like, if I can't be dry and warm, nobody's having a good time. So like when I've had situations when I was younger, my family used to be into camping, and like, looking back at it, like I would have meltdowns because of this, like not understanding my neurodivergence at that point. So like as an adult, it's something I've avoided, but like, when you go to festivals and things like that, you have to camp, right? So my solution has been to camp in my car. So I feel like the ambulance would be good because like the insulation, right? Like it makes it so it's not as damp. Like I drive a Jetta, so it's not like it's like super spacious in the back seat, but like I got one of those air mattresses. Like I went to a women's festival the last couple of years, actually. Last year I taught at it, and I bought one of those air mattresses that fits in the back seat, so it's got like it like fills up the foot parts, and then like the whole back seat is an air mattress. And I can't quite stretch out, but I can sleep in the fetal position, and like that was good enough for me. Like I was happy to at least be dry and like have some of the sounds insulated too. So I feel that I feel like I love being outside when I can come inside.
Yeah, see, and I feel like if you are wet and cold while you're camping, you just are a shitty camper. You're just not doing it right.
Yeah, I'm probably a shitty camper because I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't want it. I
but
don't want things to be that hard, Like I have a Taurus stellium, like
you like that comfort, eh?
yeah.
Well, and I have, as we've discovered, 5 planets and Lilith in Virgo, so I'm really prepared when I camp, and
Yeah.
damp and cold just isn't a thing. I've got a friend who lives in the Arctic Circle, and she has one of my best phrases, and I apply it to gear, not just clothing. But they say there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree to disagree on that.
we can agree to disagree.
No, like even like I'm inside right now, and like this is the weather. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it. It's like gray and cold and
Oh,
wet.
you are about to get hit with the snow, and it's just going to skip us. The rest of Canada is going to get hammered. So prepare yourself. Lake effect snow coming your way, darling.
Yeah, I just want to like be in bear mode when it gets to be like this. So anywho, welcome to everybody else who is on the call here. I see some familiar faces. I see some new faces. Welcome wherever you are coming from. I am Lumi. I am your friendly neighborhood metaphysical savant. I'm autistic, and this is my special interest. So a lot of you know me for the astrology, specifically the true Sidereal 13 sign astrology, which is my primary focus as far as like my business and what I'm putting out there as far as content production is concerned. But it's not my only interest. So, my intention with these calls is to kind of touch on a little bit of everything. It's a bit of a metaphysical variety hour. So today I wanted to cover some of the astrology. We have a full moon that's coming up on Wednesday. I am also hosting a free moon circle on Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Soultivation. Free to join. And if you haven't experienced that yet, it's way less yapping and a lot more ritualistic. So the idea with that is like, I'll talk a bit about the energies, but it's more of an invitation for you to come and receive and share. And then we do like a somatic dance situation where we shake the shit out, especially for the full moon, because the moon is like a magnet, right? It's a catalyst that pulls things to the surface with its magnetic force. So the full moon is my favorite time to do that sort of ritual. So we're going to be doing that on Wednesday. As far as my plan for today, kind of just where Meg and I were riffing about like camping and like being like organized and planned. Like I really like, as a Gemini rising, I have the ability, like I can see both sides of that. And like, even in my role as operations manager here on Soultivation, I do have a lot of that Virgo, like get your poop in a group kind of or like order in me. But I would say there's an equal part of me that like prefers chaos and like being unprepared. So today I have kind of a rough idea of some things that I wanted to talk about, like specifically around the energies that are coming up for me with this full moon involving interpersonal turbulence. I find that like when I share what I'm going through personally, like the stories that I'm unwinding in my personal life and like with my design, it tends to resonate because we're all living different versions of the same story essentially. So that was kind of my plan, was to talk about my understanding of relational dynamics in the context of knowing yourself as the true essence, the oneness, the singularity, ultimately beneath all of this, and the layers of forgetting and like the separation that is just the game, right? This is the game of being a human, is the forgetting, the separation, so that you can have the experiences. But sometimes that forgetting gets in the way or it makes it a lot more challenging, right? To live in a more neutral state. So that was kind of my plan. I was also just wanting to kind of get a feel for where everybody else was at, if there was something else that wanted to come through the field. So maybe we'll just open the call with that. Like if anybody has anything pressing, or if you want me just to like look at the energies, or if you guys just want me just to go, you just want to like receive, and I'll just yap for an hour, because I can do that also. So if anybody has anything that is dying to come out of them at this point, either just take yourself off mute and say it, or like put your hand up and we can go from there. Oh, and I forgot to turn the chat on also. Hello, Jared. Are you from TikTok? I recognize you just joined, and I recognize your image kind of. Are you nobody on TikTok who I was just telling to come here? Yes, I think. Yay! Okay, welcome. Yeah, welcome to, this is what has been, I've been funneling all of my creative energy into this project with a few other heart-centered humans. So this is where I'm spending most of my time. I mean, I'm still making content and stuff like that for the TikTok machine, but I hang out here. So welcome. I'm glad to see you here. Feeling a bit anticipatory of the energy of the full moon. Okay, and I don't know how you guys are viewing this. Like my preferred view as far as these calls is concerned is I change I'm on my computer, so I don't know if it's different on the phone, but like I like to put it on gallery so I can see everybody, and then have the chat up as well. So I'm like kind of responding to multiple things at once here, but yeah, so like that makes sense. Megan, not to divulge too much of I know you like to share your stuff, but like Meg had a bit of an experience with the last new moon, which is like not surprising based on the energies. Like we've been, the waves that have been hitting the collective have been kind of ramping up, right? So we've had like successive waves of energy that are, understatement of the week. A bit of an, it's your story to tell, honey. So like, I won't share too much of that, right? But like, people have been having a time, right, dealing with like the primary theme that I've been feeling and seeing in the aspects as far as the true sky stuff goes is like this movement away, movement away, utter destruction and chaos and like dismantling tower moments as far as the systems, like the old world, the paradigm of the external locus of control, right? And what I mean by that, I'll say these, if you are consuming my content or listening to me yap for any length of time, you will hear me say the external locus of control versus the internal locus of control. And these phrases come from psychology. So my formal education is in psychology. I have an honor specialization in psych with a minor in sociology. So I've got like the micro and the macro as far as human behavior goes. Human behavior was my first special interest. So, and that's because I'm a freaking alien and I've never understood how to be a human. So I've studied humans deeply so that I could try to fit in. So the external locus versus the internal locus come from psychology. And oh no, that's not enough. Hold on. It essentially refers to where your authority or where your power lies, right? And so the external locus is how we're conditioned in society to look outside of ourselves. And yes, Shawnee, like I feel like a lot of autistic or neurodivergent humans have an interest in human behavior because we're like, what is happening here? Like, why are we doing it this way? Why is this not working? Kind of idea, right? So most of society has been conditioned into the external locus of control using the brain. Okay, the brain in your head is one of three brains. We actually have this one, your heart, and your gut. Okay, and it's meant to work like there's more information that goes up your vagus nerve and informs the brain than vice versa. But of course, the inverted society, the overculture, the matrix, whatever you want to call it, right? The system that is conditioning us. Oh, it's telling me my internet is unstable, so I'm sorry if we're having, maybe I'll close everything else that's on here. Everything. Also, just a side note here, like if you guys have technical difficulties during any of the calls, Circle is a great platform. We're new to hosting things on here as well. So like when you leave a call, there's like a little segment that you can give feedback on the tech experiences that you had. So like if you could put anything bad that happens in there, the Circle knows about it. But also just like restarting your device seems to be like what solves it. Like basic, that's like tech support 101. Like, have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in again, right? Like, so if you have any issues on the call with audio or video, try restarting your device and joining again. So anyways, the inverted society, the overculture, has conditioned us into using our head and looking outside of ourselves for everything, right? And like this is adaptive from a survival standpoint, right? Because I'm so distracted. I'm running low on resources today too. I'm like pretty burnt out, so I'm like even more easily distracted than usual. But every time I see your connection is unstable, I think to myself, same girl, same. I'm like, if you guys aren't watching the chat, what I'm saying isn't going to make sense. But yeah, so the external locus, using the brain, intellectualizing, putting your authority outside of yourself. This is a surefire way to create an audience of people or a population that does not know how to have control over their life, essentially, right? Like everything that we're taught is to put your authority outside of yourself, trust the experts, like even the indoctrination of the school systems, right? Like we're just we're taught this information, we're taught not to question it. If you do question it, it causes problems for you, right? So you just receive this information from an authority figure. You have to believe that information and regurgitate it back, right? Like that's school in a nutshell, right? But all that does is reinforce the external locus of control. It doesn't allow you to have autonomy or authority over the way that you're thinking or seeing the world or generating thoughts. And this is how they get us, right? This is the external locus of control, looking outside of yourself, putting your authority outside of yourself, using your brain for everything. because the brain, also the intellectualization of information, minimizes our capacity to actually understand that information, right? Because you're not expanding your neural pathways, you're reinforcing the same ones over and over again. And the brain in your head is actually only in charge of the physical world. The brain in your head wants you to eat, sleep, seek pleasure, don't die, have babies also, right? Procreation, survival. That's what the brain, and like surveying for threats. So when you're using the external locus of control or operating from that paradigm, intellectualizing, using your head, you are only perceiving like this much of reality, right? You're perceiving the physical world, your body, your immediate surroundings, and any potential threats to your survival. So this in a nutshell is how we're under this kind of spell, right? And like what we're here to do is to remember our power with the internal locus, switching from the brain looking outside of yourself to operating from your heart as the astral bridge. I'm just reading the comments here. No problem, Jared. There's replays as well, so you can catch the rest of this yap session at any time once I upload it. Can we cross post? I mean, lunar cycle. Oh yeah. So as far as spaces within Soultivation here, just post it in one. Like don't post the same thing more than once, because it's a small community at this point. So like it will flood the feed. But even if you post it, I know even when I posted my the video that I made this morning with the nervous system stuff, I'm like, where do I put this? Like I have a hard time categorizing a lot. So if you find yourself like not sure where to put it, just put it in the fire pit, like in the general. But it all shows up on the feed anyways. Glad to hear you here. Glad to have you here. Looking forward to connecting more. So yeah, essentially the external locus versus the internal locus, and like understanding that is like, it really informs most of my operating in the world, but then also my spiritual work. Okay. Because once you understand that, and I'm constantly doing neuro-linguistic programming where I'm changing under to inner, right? Because understand that word. So there's so many little spells we're casting on ourselves with English in particular, right? So like even just the idea of understanding, like that's putting you underneath something. When you say you understand something, it's emanating from within you, right? So, and yeah, no worries. Like I, most of the time, like honestly, if I wasn't the one leading the class, I would be off my camera. But it's kind of important for you guys to see me, I think, at this point. So yeah, that theme, basically understanding that like concept of the external locus versus the internal locus, and like the physiological correlation of the brain and the heart being the primary organs, like perception organs that you're using to interact with the world. This is what really underpins or informs the way that I view basically everything, but specifically the topic of interpersonal turbulence or relational difficulties. Okay, because one of the big themes of this full moon that's coming up, we're in the orb of it already. Okay, like we feel the lunations about 3 days on either side, and it's the full moon is on Wednesday, so it's like 48 hours away ish, maybe a little less than that, right? Because the apex is at 8:19 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday. So we're in the orb of it, right? And like the full moon, when it's at the peak of its cycle, which is the halfway point, the moon is at its fullest magnitude, its biggest magnetic potential. And so its role within the solar system is to bring things to the surface, right? The sun is the masculine, it's giving, right? The moon is the feminine, receiving energy. And so it receives all of our shit, basically. It like pulls everything up to the surface with its magnet powers. And the intention with that is for us to become aware of it, right? So this particular lunation, the moon is in just 0 degrees of Libra. It'll be entering, it's just finishing the last couple of degrees of Virgo right now. And if you're brand new here, I'm talking about true sidereal astrology. Sidereal means of the stars. Tropical Western astrology is part of the matrix, unfortunately. This is a big pill to swallow. Took me, it literally like sent me into a manic episode when I first had the realization, because I had a business based on tropical astrology and like human design and gene keys. But true sidereal is based on the visible sky. It's also called alchemical astronomy because we're using the visible sky, the authentic placements of the planets and the etheric bodies as they move through the constellations. The constellations are all different sizes. So, like Virgo, for example, it's been Virgo season since September. Like it's the whole month of October and into November because it's like 42 degrees. Like the whole constellation lies on the ecliptic. So when the moon is full, the sun will have just slipped into Libra. So it's going to have that cuspy energy of a little bit of Libra, a little bit of Virgo. And then opposite that it'll be in Aries, the moon. So it'll be at 11 degrees Aries. So we're working on the Libra Aries axis, which is the self and the other. Okay. And the moon is going to be in Aries, which is the self. So it's going to be that magnet, expansive, feminine force when it comes to your self-concept, your identity, putting yourself first, but also that kind of cardinal fire energy, right? Like that initiating, like you might feel like you want to put your foot down and like not take any more BS kind of energy, right? Like really put yourself first, especially if you're somebody who has a pattern or habit of people pleasing, right? Like really, and this is something that I've really, I don't want to say struggled with, but it's something that has been like such an underlying current in my life. And if you know me, you might find this to be a bit surprising because I am a pretty outspoken and somewhat aggressive person in my day to day. I'm not typically one to let anybody push me around on the like from a like external kind of perspective. But there is a lot of tongue biting and like really putting my needs aside in some of my closer relationships because I don't want to rock the boat. Because I learned at an early age that, like before I was even aware of it, like we learn these things through the emotional body, the causal body, that me questioning things or seeing the world differently was dangerous because of the feedback that I received from the environment at an early age, right? So like even though personally I'm like, I'm outspoken, whatever, I do what I want, I'm an anarchist, like frick you kind of idea. Subtly, there is a current that runs underneath that is like telling me that I need to put my needs aside to serve the other, right? And this is what we're experiencing as a collective overall, but with this lunation in particular, the sun being in Libra and the moon being in Aries, it's like, and there's no conflicting aspects, like it's like a pure polarity as far as the sun, the masculine force on the other, the relational aspect, the cardinal air with the Libra, and then the moon with its magnetic feminine expansive energy in Aries self. So it's really asking you like, where are you people pleasing? Where are you putting your needs aside? Where can you put yourself first from a place of being heart centered, right? Because there's so much in the field that conditions us, again, the inverted society and the overculture, right? Like wanting us to keep the peace and like conditioning us to believe that we're somehow bad if we put ourselves first. But that's actually how it works, right? Like when you put your needs aside and you're constantly changing yourself to attend to somebody else's needs, you're reinforcing the external locus of control. You're putting your authority outside of yourself, and your behavior and the way that you're feeling as a result of your behavior is sorry, the sun is distracting me now. I'm going to have to close my blinds. You're basically reinforcing that external locus of control and diminishing your power as the curator of your experience, because everything outside of you, all of you and me to you, I am you in another body, right? Like this message that you're receiving from me right now is actually just your soul in another body wanting you to have the experience of receiving this information. Okay. And when you take that, and all of you guys are spiritual humans, right? Like you're all in this community because you are spiritually inclined, and everybody's got kind of different backgrounds or areas of study that they've specialized in, but you've probably heard that idea before, right? Like, I'm another you, we're all one kind of idea, right? And you'll hear people say that sort of thing from an intellectual standpoint because they've heard the teaching and they're like, I know that, right? But they're intellectualizing it, which is a function of the external locus of control. They're not actually embodying it, because once you embody the knowing that everything is one, it like really is one. There's nothing that exists outside of you that is not you. Okay. Once you know that, right, there's kind of a sweet spot of like, okay, understanding this intellectually, right? And then like in having a felt sense of that shit, right? And you get that to that point by calming your body down and practicing turning your attention inwards. And the more that you do that, you are going to establish an undeniable connection to the truth of the oneness. And then you start to have a bit more fun with life, right? Because no matter what happens, it's just you, right? Like, there's nobody to fight. There's nothing to fight against. There's nothing to be upset about, right? It's all an invitation to call a fragmented aspect of yourself home, because that's what it is. We're all fragmented into these different streams of light and energy with the illusion of separation in these physical meat suits so that we can have the experiences, right? So there's kind of a sweet spot in this evolution or spiritual journey, right? Where you're like, you start to really feel, like, have that felt sense of that experience of the oneness, right? But you're still a person, right? Like, it's not, and this is where the new age gets it twisted too, right? Like, the new age, FYI, if you're not aware, is just the matrix in a spiritual cloak. It is like a psyop, so to speak, because it's a half truth or an inverted truth dressed in spiritual teachings, but it doesn't give you the full picture, right? Because it's not about having this remembering and then leaving your body, right? Like, I'm going to ascend into 5D consciousness. No, 5D consciousness is right here, right now. It is being in the world and not at the same time, right? It's having the understanding, the felt sense of the oneness in your everyday, but then also still appreciating and recognizing the gift that it is to be in a human body and have the tactile experiences. You can't be in a body and not have triggers. You can't be in a body and not have dysregulation sometimes. Anybody who says that is lying, or maybe it's not even conscious, right? Like, they're deluded by these half-truths or like this idea of like leaving the body. Okay, I'm just going to look at the chat here. Not interrupt, it's not an interruption. I said that, I misspoke. Can you please try to explain the oneness to me? Oh. Okay, so here's the thing. If you guys aren't seeing the chat, Meg just asked, can you come and try to explain the oneness to my very fundamental Christian parents, because you're doing a much better job than me. I've just convinced them I'm going to hell. So here's the thing about that. Okay, so religion, this is where new age spirituality is actually just another form of religion, right? Like, it's and this is why you'll also see a lot of people who were like really into new age, like mysticism, all of that kind of stuff, and then they revert back to like Orthodox Christianity, because it's basically the same thing, and it's the exact same mechanism that I was talking about, and I will continue to talk about forever. And this is the external locus versus the internal locus. Okay, Christianity is the external locus of control. It is God or Jesus, which is God, I guess, right? Like, it's like, your authority is not you. You are, a sinner, right? You're doing bad things. You need to repent, and like, the authority is outside of you. But in actuality, it's the other way around. And if you look at the Gnostic teachings of Yeshua, right? Like, Jesus is one example of the Christ consciousness in a body. There are many others. And the actual teachings, if you look at the Gospel of Thomas is a great place to start with that if you're new to this whole idea of like the Gnostic teachings. So like the excluded book from the Bible, the King James Bible also is not actually accurate either, right? So, and I could go, that'd be a whole lecture actually even talking about that shit. But like, essentially it's like the actual teachings that Jesus was talking about is what I'm saying, right? This is what anybody who's actually on the wavelength of the oneness and like the source emanating from within you. It's like, know thyself, love thyself, and like even the idea of like, forgive them for they know not what they do. That is exactly the internal locus versus the external locus of control, right? Like, it's like understanding that when people do you wrong or something happens, right? Like, because that's part of the game of being in a meat suit, is having things happen from good to bad and everything in between. It's all just experience when you're sitting in neutrality. So it's just an experience, and it led to a certain, like, it unlocks other experiences, essentially. So the unfortunate reality, though, Meg, as far as your question is concerned, is that not everybody is here to have that knowing or understanding, you know, and like, because actually, and maybe this is a good time for me to switch to I made like a little little slideshow of things that I kind of wanted to talk about today. And I wanted to talk about the Hermetic principles and like the idea of polarity in particular. Yeah, I love Yeshua. Yeah, like honestly, when I first started having when my like awakening intensified and I had my first like downloads or like spontaneous out of body experiences, the first vision I had, I was like really like, it was maybe like, maybe I shouldn't share this part. I was like really high on mushrooms, and I was doing like a hot cold. So I was like high on mushrooms, steam bath, and like going outside in the wintertime and like going back and forth. And I had this vision. Yeshua came to me and like bestowed upon me like an information packet about the Christ consciousness and how it all works, essentially. And like, that was, I didn't understand it at all at that point. And then it led me on this like breadcrumb trail of information. And then I read the Magdalene manuscripts, and then I got into the Gospel of Thomas and reading the Gnostic teachings of Yeshua. And then I got into like the Sophia Code and like the feminine essence of the Christ consciousness, and that is a lot of what like the foundation of my spiritual perspective, or the work, my understanding now. So as far as the Hermetic principles go, you've probably heard of them, right? Like, they're pretty foundational as far as spiritual truth or laws. And understanding them, like embodying that, like not intellectualizing it, it also helps to understand this idea of like us and the other, and how relational dynamics is really just you orchestrating an experience for yourself to bring a fragmented aspect of yourself home. So in the context of like having really religious parents who think you're going to go to hell, right? Like, what is that doing for your soul? Like, why does your soul want that experience? It's nothing wrong with your parents. You could probably lay out the most beautiful argument. Like, you could write like a PhD, like doctorate. Like, you could literally like write a thesis and like have all of this evidence for everything that I'm saying. And they would read it and be like, no, you're going to hell, right? Because they're not necessarily here for the experience of having that knowing. They are serving a role in your experience. So like, when it comes to that, and that's it, right? Like, they love you, and they're just acting. They're serving your development by playing the role of the catalyst, right? And you know, intuitively, like when it comes, you know, I am no stranger to like people disagreeing with me or thinking that I'm a piece of shit. For just existing, right? And so I'm having a situation like that with a family member right now who thinks that I'm like full of myself and that I don't care about anybody. And like, I kind of am, right? Like, I'm autistic. I have like, I've been neglected by both sides of my family. Like, all of my family hates each other. And I spend most of my time by myself. And like, I've literally taken all of my time and energy for the last 20 years and invested it into human behavior and metaphysics. So like, I am an authority. Like, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to diminish that, right? So it's like, there's two sides to every situation. Like, the experience that this family member is having of me is that I'm like this pompous ass who like can't like have a normal conversation or like care about other people. And then on the other side, like, I'm like on the ascetic path of like purity and like just enjoying my solitude and achieving enlightenment through this path, right? So it's all perspective, and the experience that I'm having with this family member giving me this feedback is meant to be an invitation for me to consider how my behavior is affecting others, and maybe I could be a bit softer or more kind when it comes to my interpersonal relationships. And two, I don't really need to care what anybody thinks about me, and that like this is an invitation for me to be confident in my gifts and my abilities and the time that I've put into gaining this stance, right? So as far as your parents go, like just think about that, right? Like what is it that you're getting from that experience of being challenged in the experience that you're having right now, and how can you accept that fully and not try to change them or convince them of anything, right? Like just accepting everything exactly as it is how you sit in that neutrality. And from that place of neutrality, that is where life becomes a game, and it's more fun because you're not freaking butthurt about everything that's happening to you, because shit is not going to stop happening to you, especially if you are a catalyst. And most of the people who are drawn to these sorts of transmissions or these sorts of communities that are developing are the ones who have been through the freaking ringer, okay? The cosmic gauntlet, like challenges on challenges on challenges. And that is because we are here to have the experiences of those challenges in order to transmute that shit, right? And alchemize it in the name of the collective, because everything is you. So just being mindful of where I'm at time-wise. Okay, I do want to just kind of show you guys some of the little slideshow that I put together. I wonder if I can. This is one thing I don't like about Circle's functionality, is that when I share screen, and like in order for me to point on the screen, I can't see the chat. So I'm gonna see. I can't remember what order. I think I can. Sorry, I'm processing out loud, guys. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. We'll just go to this. If you guys I'm not really going to talk about the astrology in detail too much today. If you guys are curious about the energies, specifically the transits, I do a daily update. Oh, what is it? It's giving me an option. Oh, I can see it. The universe has rewarded me. That's amazing. Okay, so like, can you guys? Oh, I can see it. This is amazing. It's given me like a little pop-up so I can point and I can see you guys at the same time. You know what? All you have to do is ask and the universe delivers. So let's turn this on. Slideshow. I'm so stoked about this. Okay, here we are. So these are the Hermetic principles. I'll just kind of move this so I can see what is on the screen. Oh, but you guys can't see me. It's not pointing now. Oh, okay, I'm less stoked, but that's fine. So these are the Hermetic principles, okay? They are from the Emerald Tablets. Hermes is the same archetype as Thoth, the messenger. And so these 7 principles mirror some other things that you'll find in other mystery school traditions, like very similar to a lot of fourth way stuff, which is another like underpinning to a lot of the work that I do. I studied fourth way for a number of years in 2020. And so you'll find these common themes through different mystery schools. So it basically is like the rules of the universe and like engagement, essentially. Number 1 is the principle of mentalism. And I think this is part of what the inverted society or new age teachings have latched onto as far as the idea of intellectualizing things. Mentalism in this context does not mean the brain. Okay? All is mind, the universe is mental. It is not talking about your freaking brain. It is talking about the higher mind. Okay? The brain in your head rules the material world. It is in charge of survival. It wants you to eat, sleep, I'm trying to be mindful of swearing, but it wants you to eat, sleep, have babies, don't die. Okay, that's what it is in charge of. The next slide after this is some little drawings that I've made to kind of give you a visual as far as this is concerned. But essentially, your brain rules the 3 lower chakras. Okay, solar plexus, sacral, and root. The heart is the astral bridge, and then you've got the throat, the third eye, and the crown. The crown is the all mind, okay? And that is what this principle is referring to, the higher mind, okay? The principle of correspondence, as within, as without. This means that for everything there is an opposite. Oh no, that's polarity. So, as within, so without. Same idea as polarity, but this indicates the primary concept as far as reality creation, where how you feel, your internal landscape, is what is creating your external reality. It's not the other way around. Okay. But the thing is, what gets us fucked up is that it takes longer. The physical world has more density. There's more laws repressing movement in the physical world. So it's not instant. And it's probably a good thing, because like it would imagine like if you instantly could manifest literally every horrific thought. Like somebody who like had what is the word for it? Like I had like really intense like violent like impulsive thoughts for a long time when I was manic and really mentally unwell. So like if I manifested every like impulsive thought that I had, like holy, right? So this is a protection mechanism for us. But this is the truth of reality creation. How you feel and what you're thinking inside is what creates your external reality. And this is also, again, to tie it back to the core root of this conversation today, is this idea of this lunation, this full moon, bringing up interpersonal, relational situations, right? And the potential for interpersonal turbulence as a result of this. That person and the difficulty that you're having with it, or maybe it's not even a person, maybe it's a system or an institution or a habit or a way of being, right? Your relationship with whatever it is that's causing you difficulty is coming from inside of you. You are creating that because of a fragmented aspect of yourself inside that wants the experience of that, whatever it is. Okay, so that is a principle of correspondence. As within, so without. Your reality comes from inside of you. If you want to change something outside of you, you have to change it inside first. The principle of vibration, everything's moving all the time. That's basically it. Everything's vibrating. Nothing is ever still. And you can see this in quantum physics when you use a microscope and look at the core. Everything is literally vibrating. Movement, patterns. This is the fabric of the universe. And then polarity. This is another one that I cite all the time. For everything, there is an opposite. Okay, you can't have good without bad. Okay, this idea of like, love and light, only good vibes. That is freaking new age brainwashing. Okay, you can't just be love and light. You can embody love and light, but you're also gonna embody hate and dark. Right? It's the same energy, the polarity. It's just on the other end of the spectrum. And so also understanding this as far as your navigation or like the experience that you're having in this human meat suit as a magical creature is like, there's going to be just as many good things that happen as bad things, right? And so understanding that, not expecting it from a place of like, oh no, bad things are going to happen, I got to prepare. No, because then you're just reinforcing the principle of correspondence and you're going to create more shitty things in your experience, right? But it's more about operating from that Pisces Vesica, the neutrality, knowing that things are going to happen. Some of them are going to be good. Some of them are going to be not so good. And when you're able to just sit in the acceptance and surrender of all of that, you're then able to access higher faculties to find creative solutions to the things. And then you can also like really enjoy the good things when they happen. Also in this context, even of the idea of like having people in your life or institutions or groups of humans, subgroups, egregores of people who like have opinions that are like, they're feeling oppressive or like, if only the collective could wake up, we need to wake everybody up. For a long time, I was a social justice warrior, where I was like, you guys, everything, the world's crazy. Like, look at all this, shit that's going on. Like during the COVID situation, I was one of those, like, oh my God, everybody. Right. And like, what happened, and this is part of like, that was happening concurrently with like the third wave of my spiritual awakening. But I realized through that I was just reinforcing like that contraction by fighting against something, right? And like also, it's not your job to convince anybody of anything or try to change anybody. Like you're just meant to accept them exactly as they are. Focus on yourself, emanate that change from within you. And if they're meant to wake up or see your perspective, they're going to. And if they're not, then they're just playing that role of polarity. Like for every person who is awake, there's one that is asleep, and we need that. For every person who's doing really good things and is a humanitarian and like living in joy and bliss, there's somebody who is committing atrocities and like serving themselves and like being in that like dark end of the human experience. Okay. Like this is just laws of nature. There is no value judgment on like this is good and desirable and this is bad and we need to punish it. No, that is the brain. That is the brain trying to categorize things. It is trying to keep you safe. It's trying to protect you from being in the bad category so you don't get kicked out of the tribe and eaten by wolves, right? Like that's where that is coming from. Okay, so the principle of polarity, for everything there is an opposite. And this is also, it ties in, they all relate to each other, right? So like correspondence. So like every bad thing that you're seeing outside of you comes from inside of you. All of the atrocities on the world right now are emanating from within your soul, because your soul is part of the oneness and it's all experience, right? Like, and this is something that is a hard pill to swallow, especially if you're somebody who's really engaged in the social justice or like the external world. It's hard to accept that we're creating these things internally because of the way that the brain works and the value judgments that are associated with that. Like there's nothing wrong with that. You're not doing anything wrong. But what it is an invitation for you to call those fragmented aspects home. And really the revolution is internal, because the way that we change the world, the way that we stop the experiences from happening or the prevalence of them or our perception of them, is by bringing more love internally. The principle of rhythm, everything that is built will be destroyed kind of idea, right? Like it kind of fits into the idea of correspondence and vibration. What goes up must come down kind of idea. And then cause and effect also is the same kind of idea, that like every action sets off a chain of events, right? It's kind of, I often describe even just the way that astrology works is like in a choose your own adventure book, right? Where it's like there's a set number of different choices. When you make those choices, it takes you down a different path, right? And then gender, the principle of gender is very similar to the idea of polarity, in the sense that masculine and feminine principles are opposite. I quote a law from the fourth way pretty often, the law of three, right? The idea that for anything to be created, there's three opposing forces: one part masculine, doing; one part feminine, receiving; one part neutral, blank force, incubating space, right? The best example of this is conception. So in order for a baby to be created, you need sperm, egg, womb. But in our society, we've been taught that it's all doing, right? Like you gotta go out there and get it done. And like the hustle and the grind, the patriarchy, the external locus of control, all of that is an overemphasis of the masculine principle of doing. And when it comes to this analogy, it's just like you got three dicks coming at each other. Maybe a lot of fun for some people, but you're not making a baby. Right? So we need both. Everybody has masculine and feminine. It doesn't really, that example I just gave is about appendages and, the physiological aspects of gender, but gender really, it just has to do with energy. It's a polarity of like the outward masculine giving force and the feminine expansive force. And when it comes to the full moon, this is exactly the opposition of the masculine and the feminine. The sun is the outward masculine force. It's in Libra, relationships, illuminating that. The moon is going to be in Aries, the feminine expansive force. Okay, so the full moon is always the oppositional energy between the masculine and the feminine, the giving and the receiving.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, I don't have my keyboard right now. I just have to jump in and say that I love the three dicks analogy, and every time you say it, I die laughing. Please don't stop using it. Also, every time you say that, for some reason, I think about Jeff Bezos and his stupid rockets, and I just picture them like plink, like into each other, just like plinking into each other. Anyways, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that interjection. That is actually an inside, like a running joke. And like I run, it's actually been a while since I've hosted an in-person circle, but like I started out doing women's circles here in person. And like, so it became like an inside joke. And like, you can't give that analogy everywhere. It's not every audience is going to receive that the same way. So sometimes I don't say the dick part. Right? Like I'll keep that to myself. But as soon as I do this, all the women that come to my circles are like, hee 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 hee. think it's funny. For me, when I think of that, I just think the sound. Like, think about the sound of 3 penises.
Here. I'll make the sound. I'm good with sounds. Are you ready? It's like this. It's hilarious.
Oh, good times. You gotta laugh, you know? You gotta, don't take yourself too seriously. Everything's a cosmic joke, right? So I love it. We are actually talking about getting tattoos with like a triangle and like 3 dicks, and it probably is gonna happen. Another friend of mine just told me she has a tattoo gun, so we'll see what happens. So
I have a tattoo artist who I'm sure would be very happy to do that ink, but you have to come to my neck of the woods over here in southern
okay.
Alberta.
Big plans. Yeah, I love it. So on the screen here now, I literally drew this, if you can't tell. This is a picture from a notebook that I drew to demonstrate this. I tried to give it to ChatGPT to see if it could make it digital, and it failed. Like, it was really funny, actually. I love how ChatGPT, the words, like, it did not translate. So we're just using the drawing here. But this is how I see what I've been talking about as far as these concepts are concerned up to this point, right? So, like, at the top, oh, it's not showing. Oh, it is pointing. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is the external locus of control. Okay. And this is the face that you should be making when you're using it. So when you're looking outside of yourself, you're using the mind in your head, the brain. I should have written brain, not mind. Okay. It is perceiving threats, food sources, mating opportunities, and ways for you to distract yourself, like seeking pleasure. The aura, I don't know if it's coming through very well. This is kind of faded. I drew it a long time ago, but I used a highlighter to kind of encase the human in a very closed in aura, because this is the material based mind. Okay. This is the brain. It is keeping you safe and small, looking outside of yourself for these survival based kind of opportunities or protection mechanisms. When you're operating from this state of being, your cognitive capacity or your ability to perceive, your perceptual ability, is diminished, because the brain, it only wants to protect your physical vessel. This is adaptive. Like, we have this response intentionally so we don't die. Okay. So, like, there are risks to the physical world. You can die, right? Like, you can get hurt, right? Or, I like to use example of like a mouse, right? Like, a mouse has the like similar, it just is missing like the executive functions. So, the limbic system, it doesn't give you those executive functions, but the mouse has the ability to go into fight or flight and to get out of it, right? And it wants to have that ability when a cat is chasing it, right? It wants to be looking at the environment, making sure it's not going to die. But then, like, when the cat is gone, the mouse is not just hiding in its hole being like, oh no, what if it comes back? Or like, what if there's something else, right? And this is what gets us fucked up as human beings, because the advanced part of our brain gives us the ability to think about thinking, and then we can ruminate about potential threats, right? We're in the future, we're in the past, we're reliving trauma, or we're worrying about things that could happen. And this is exacerbated by the overculture poisoning us and fear mongering us. Okay. When your body is in a high level of toxicity and you're constantly receiving things from the external environment that make you afraid, you cannot get out of the external locus of control. It is impossible, because your brain thinks you're going to die. And if your body thinks it's going to die, and it's just this like clusterfuck, basically, where the brain and the body are like sending signals back and forth to each other that there's something wrong. The brain looks for it, finds it, because the brain finds whatever you tell it to look for, even if it's not accurate. The brain is super fallible, right? So it's all impossible to think from your heart or an like expanded state of being, operating in the external locus of control using your mind, the material world. The internal locus is achievable once you calm your body down, right? So this is why I'm cautious when I bring these things into the conversation, because like, I don't want you to be, when I first became aware of this, I was like, everything's poison, I can't do anything. And like, I had a lot of anxiety about that, and that's not any better, right? So just being aware, trying to make small changes to what you're putting into and onto your body will help to diminish that, right? And then like practicing turning your attention inward. So instead of looking outside of you, little pockets of time where you're taking your attention and you're putting it inwards, right? And this will allow you to then operate from a more spiritual lens instead of the material lens, where your external reflects the internal. Everything is really like you're a vacuum essentially, right? Like your attention goes inwards, and then you empower yourself, and then your aura is magnified and bigger, and you're more powerful from an energetic standpoint. Looking at the chakras and how they correlate to this, this little, maybe I'll show you guys, maybe I'll post what the chat GPT made of this. It made like a little worm, like a human, right? So like the brain and the material world are the three lower chakras: your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus. Okay. Solar plexus is a little bit in between. It's kind of cuspy energy because it is in control of your emotions, which is somewhat tangible and somewhat not. Like there's a physiological and an energetic component of your emotions, right? And then the astral bridge is the heart. So it's the in between. It's really the seat of your soul. You know, even physiologically, there's so many stories of like heart transplant people, recipients, right, receiving the essence of that person's soul, right? They imprint within that organ, right, that's in the heart, that is the heart. And then the three upper chakras, your throat, your third eye, and your crown, are the spiritual realms, right? And so humans are meant to have access to all of this. And this is the next picture is demonstrating, is how they come together. Okay, so the material, humans are meant to be, the Christ consciousness is the emanation of the Pisces vesica of this Venn diagram, the combination of the material and the spiritual, right? We're in our bodies to have these experiences and all the tangible, tactile things that can happen in a body, but we're also meant to be able to have all of these really wild spiritual experiences and what you can't see and touch and feel in the astral realms and the collective unconsciousness and all of that, right? So this is where we're supposed to be, is like right in the middle. But it seems to be, so like the matrix, like the mainstream, is on the far end. Okay, there we go. Far end of the material, the Ahrimanic force, consumerism, intellectualism. And the New Age is on the far end of the spiritual, which is actually, the New Age is actually Luciferian, FYI, because Lucifer is the light bringer, right? Like it's disembodiment. It's like, I don't have a body. I'm just a spirit. I don't want to live in the world. Like I just want to ascend into 5D consciousness. That is not any better, right? Like that is just the exact opposite of the people who are living like muggles in the material world, right? So the idea is that we're in the world and not. We're supposed to be sitting in the middle, the Pisces vesica, okay? And so understanding this intellectually first, and then doing the work to calm your body down and turn your attention inwards is going to establish the undeniable truth in you that, this is how it's come through for me, but it'll come through differently for everybody. But the end result is the knowing that you are the curator of your experience. Everything that is happening outside of you is an invitation to have some sort of experience. And you ultimately are the one who gets to decide what that experience is and what it means to you. And so my invitation for you, as far as this upcoming full moon and all of the spicy aspects that are going on right now, all the relational dynamics interpersonally. So there's a lot going on as far as like ourselves and the other on a relational dynamic. There's a lot going on systemically as far as like the old systems, the external locus of control embodied in governments, the education system, like everything that is reinforcing that external locus of control. That shit is being dismantled over the next 16 years as Pluto makes its way through Capricorn, right? And it's involved in a number of aspects. Most obviously right now it's opposing Jupiter and Gemini, which is an expansion of a new paradigm, right? So there's a lot of this push-pull between like the old way and the new way. It's showing up systemically in these institutions, and it's going to be showing up in the nitty-gritty, the day-to-day of your individual lives as well. And my invitation for you is to remember that Like, it's really all just a game, right? And I don't want to say that again, there's always a fine line and a double meaning for everything. But so it's like, you don't want to fall into nihilism when the sense are like, nothing matters, I can do whatever I want. Because remember, cause and effect, you can do whatever you want, but it's going to have an effect. And it might be an effect that you don't feel immediately, but it'll create circumstances that you probably don't want to deal with, right? So it's like, sitting in that balance, the knowing nothing really matters, it's all game, but like also it's incredibly meaningful, right? And like again, returning back to the neutrality and the knowing of the oneness. Now, how do I get back here? Okay. So now I am back. I can see the chat. So let me just see what I missed here now that I'm done. Yip yapping. I'm glad you guys liked the peen chat. Oh, Nala, you were looking at the Hermetic principles this weekend. Of course you were. The weekly update. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I mean that is about all. I mean, we're at 1:00. I got a few more minutes as far as any reflections or questions that anybody wants to either pop into the chat, or I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. I can see all of you guys. If anybody wants to either pop something in the chat, unmute yourself, come on camera, say anything at this point.
I just want to say thank you. That's all. And then I will shut the fuck up and let somebody else talk for once.
I appreciate it. You know, as a hyperlexic, I can talk forever, but it's always nice when other people talk. So don't feel like you're ever talking too much, Meg. I appreciate you. You guys are all welcome. I appreciate all of you.
Hey, Lumi, it's me, Nyla.
Hi.
Hey, I just wanted to gauge on how you feel. I feel that towards the end of this month, especially the last 2 weeks, with the energy shifting and the whole of last year, I felt like I used it to, I knew that we were going through a shift, right? So I used all of those energies to kind of work on myself on the internal level because I knew that we would be going through major shifts that we are right now with the matrix collapsing and whatnot. So I was like preparing for it like a year in advance because, you know, it's like, it can depend which, you know, dimension or which timeline you fall into. So now after doing all of that work, I felt in the last week, especially now, like why I even study the Hermetic stuff on this weekend was because I felt a major energy shift where I used to be sensitive to energy. Now I'm like extremely sensitive to energy, right? Like I'm an empath, like I'll talk to you. Now it's like, it's a different feeling. Now I know more when I connect with a person, or like when I used to connect with social media, it was social media. Now it's like, oh my God, demons. And I feel like this negative energy running through my whole body that I feel like, you know, the stuff that you were talking about, the techniques when you started your meeting, you're like, you know, when you're going through stress. Oh, that was not your meeting. That was your video. I'm so sorry. On Soultivation. I loved it. And, you know, I already do those techniques, but with these, I also want to point out that sometimes, not sometimes, but we have all these teachings inside of us. And when these intense energies started surfacing, like my body told me, like I needed to pound on my chest like a monkey. Like I was doing that. And it connected my heart to my mind quicker than it has ever in my life before. Like it was within like 3 minutes and I was calm. That anxiety went away. But I just want to see how you're feeling as far as, you know, energy and the shift. Like it just feels beyond intense right now for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing all of that too, Nyla. Like, I feel like so many people can resonate with what you've just expressed and like the, you know, the guidance, like the sensitivity. And like, as far as my perspective goes, so I am like, I've been in this place of neutrality for a number of years now. And like, my go-to, honestly, even before my awakening was like, I didn't really care. Like I was like on the end of like not, it's easier to not care about things, right? So like I'm pretty unbothered on a day to day by mostly everything. Like maybe too much to that end where like it was detrimental for me when I was younger. So like I can feel the intensity of what's going on in the collective, But to me, it's like exciting. Like I'm like, woohoo, you know, like here we go time. And like when you're, and I, you know, probably it is an advantage to me as well, the fact that I am alone most of the time, right? So I have a 16-year-old daughter, almost 16, I should say. She's at her dad's half the time. I'm an entrepreneur. So like, you know, even just being on Soultivation, this is the most socializing that I've had in years, right? So I am the reclusive genius, like awakened sage hidden away most of the time. So it's pretty easy for me to navigate my day to day because I just go into my own experience most of the time. Like I'm feeling pretty good and I'm feeling excited. And I'm feeling like this is the time for those of us who are aware of these things and have been doing the work to calm our bodies down, to really step into power, because this is the thing, right? So like we all have these internal guidance systems and like intuitive nudges of what to do, like what you shared about pounding on your chest. Like these bodies are machines, right? Like they're technology for us to interact with the world, right? And so when you listen to your body and you do what it wants, right? You can see some really crazy stuff happen. Like we have so many magical capacities that are going to come online as the successive waves of the energy in the field increase. We're in we're increasing in velocity, right? As far as the speed of the universe right now, we're entering into a golden age. So it's only going to get more magical for those of us who are sitting in that Pisces Vesica doing the work to calm the body down, right? On the flip side, because of polarity, there's going to be an equal segment of humans who are feeling the same energy and doubling down into the material, right? And so this is where people are like the split kind of idea. It's not like there's going to be a whole different Earth. We're just going to be existing on a different like plane within the Earth, if that makes sense. So yeah, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good. I'm very thankful for the toolkit of somatic exercises. You know, like the little video that I posted this morning on the feed that I made for TikTok this morning. Like those are the things that I do in my day to day to keep my nervous system regulated. But I'm also sober. I haven't had alcohol in years, right? I do smoke weed still, but like it's a tool for me, right? I'm very mindful about the food that I'm putting into my body and the products that I'm using and the media that I'm consuming, right? So once you've got a good habit of that, like the ascetic path, right? The purity of your vessel and your aura, then it just becomes more fun, you know? And ultimately too, another thing I kind of want to touch on as far as this idea of like the good and evil in the world, right? And like being really aware of the evil, the nefarious aspects of our reality. For many of us, this is something that it took me a long time to even be able to share. And I can feel myself contracting a little bit as I'm about to say this. So if you consider yourself like a light worker, starseed, like a healer, mystic, somebody who's a new earth leader, I bet you dollars to donuts that you have had more lifetimes on the dark side than the good, right? So like I've had visions. I actually worked with a somatic practitioner and we were trying to go back emotional regression, and like it wasn't even in this lifetime for me. It was like other karmic imprints of me being like a warlord or like somebody who raped and pillaged kind of energy, right? Because it's all polarity, right? So I'm not really afraid of anything because there's nothing to be afraid of. And I also, you know, and like I know that I'm capable on some level, not in this body. This body's a little bit of a wimp, honestly. Like I'm kind of squeamish. But like in another body I could probably commit atrocities, right? And so like when you're able to sit with that and accept that about yourself, there's nothing to be afraid of. And now I'm not saying go out there and be horrific to people, okay? Because everything has an effect, right? Cause and effect. And I'm not here for that path at this point in time. But I had to learn that lesson, right? So let me just tap back into the chat here. Unintentional dagger. Nothing is an accident, Meg. I watched Practical Magic on the weekend, actually, that movie, by the way, so that's kind of funny. Because I was bleeding and I smoked some weed and ate a burger on the couch because I'm a human, right? Like, so sometimes Netflix and chill is okay.
It's funny you speak of movies. It's me, Nyla. I don't really watch movies, but I was so drawn to watch The Terminator. I'm an obsessed.
Oh,
I know, right? It's a sequel of The Matrix, so I was like, I got to understand the technology from the documentary Terminator.
yeah.
Right? It's funny.
Yeah. Well, it's all there's so much symbolism, right? And like when you're really sitting in that neutrality and operating from your heart space, like if you follow whatever nudge you get to do literally anything, and it could be the most muggle matrix thing, right? But following that intuition to do whatever you want and like having your highest joy while you're doing it, that's the secret sauce. That's it, right? Because that's how you get these non sequitur kind of non-linear developments to your path. So yeah, I think we're a bit over time. I gotta go soon. So I think that is about all the things that I have to say for today. I thank you all for your participation, for your receiving. It's a lot more fun for me to yap at people. So, so I appreciate all of you for being here. I encourage you to take the rest of your day and practice loving yourself, right? Like turn that attention inwards. Remember your power is the curator of your reality. And if you can just take a second, shake your body out, take a deep breath, and turn your attention to the spot between your eyes, everything just feels so much better. A reminder that I'm hosting another event this week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, no, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central. We're doing a moon circle. It'll be less yapping, more ritual. So if you're into that kind of stuff, come and check it out on Wednesday. And otherwise, we'll see y'all. And like, I feel like I don't want to cut it off, but thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all. And I'll see you in the community.